No, it's not. You can do it.
Bada bing bada.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Back at it again with another podcast episode.
Here on another lovely Saturday.
Sunday.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. If you're still with us, if you're still listening, wow, you're great.
We love you. I've actually had more people reach out this week, too, and talk about how much they like the podcast, which is just so cool to hear. Thanks, guys.
It really still is very novel to me that people listen to us. I don't know.
I agree. Like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's just really cool that people are enjoying it.
Well, and we really started this as something of an outlet, and
yeah.
But we've had a really good time doing it. So I think even if people didn't listen, we would still have fun. But just the fact that people are listening makes it so much cooler. So
it really does.
Bam.
So, bada bam.
What are our updates this week? What do we got?
So updates. I had to fact check you on the Herkle Durkle. It's not that I don't trust you. It's just that it is so out there that I felt like, I just needed to look into that. And I did. And you were like literally spot on with the definition, almost word for word.
Yeah.
And Herkle Durkling is a thing. And now I'm upset that I've said it like 4 times because I just don't
really
like to
weird
say
to
it.
say. It doesn't feel good.
It's like
act
dirtle.
of doing it, that
I do like doing it, yeah.
I do like to do the Herkle Durkling. I don't like to say that I've done that.
I agree. It's kind of like
dirtle. I'm glad you fact checked me because I have a bad habit of just believing anything that's on the internet. And I know I saw that on TikTok. So
you had a good source, and you were a good source. What's going on this week?
I am so excited for this week. My nephews and my sister-in-law and brother-in-law are coming from Maryland.
Yay.
And so all the cousins, my 2 kids and their 2 kids, will be together. We're going to go to Busch Gardens. And well, I guess I can say Sean's name. I was about to get mad at myself.
I think you have.
I'm going to say Sean's name. Sean is my husband. His mom rented a pontoon boat for us, and we get to go out with like the manatees.
That's going to be so much fun.
All the kids. Yeah. So I'm going to take a couple days off of work, which is, I don't do that very often.
I was going to say, I don't feel like you ever do that. That's great.
Not really. Not unless I'm like sick or not.
Yeah.
Or one of my kids is sick or if there's something going on. But I'm going to take off Thursday and Monday. Thursday we're going to go to Busch Gardens, and then Monday we're going to do the boat thing. But I'm super excited. And then Easter is this weekend, so we'll also be together with all the cousins for that. So we've realized how awesome it is to have our kids together on holidays. We spent Thanksgiving with them. And it's the best, especially because all of our family lives in another state. And we only get to see them a few times a year. It just makes it so much cooler. So I'm very excited for that.
I bet the kids really love that too. I remember being a kid and like getting to go play with my cousins and stuff. It was just the best, not having to just do the adult stuff the whole time.
Yeah. Our nephews are on, this is their spring break. Our spring break was a couple weeks ago. So our kids are like, we get to miss extra school.
Oh yeah. I bet they're loving that. Heck yeah.
So
is it weird that I just found out that Easter can be in March?
It doesn't seem like it should be in March.
So I always thought it had to be like the first Sunday in April.
How do they determine what Easter is? Like,
I don't know. I brought it up to Brian, and he said it's like so many days after some other day.
See, this is why I'm not religious, because I'm not going to keep up with the days. No.
Right. But yeah, people were saying March 31st, and I'm like, in what country? Like, not here.
Well, and
but I guess so.
My friends from college and I always try to plan a trip in the spring, and we were trying to plan. Actually, they are still planning a trip. I'm just not going. But we were trying we normally do March, and it was so weird this year being like, oh no, the last weekend in March is Easter. So
Yeah.
that's out. Like,
Mhm.
no thanks.
So, I had a fun experience right before we hopped onto this podcast. I was literally sitting in my chair ready to record, and I just peeked at the baby monitor, and the baby had thrown up in his crib. So, I go in there, I have to, like, change the sheet and change his clothes, and then I've woken him up. He was almost asleep
Oh
at this point
no.
when I go in there, yeah, and he had, like, poor guy had, like, throw up on the side of his face, so I'm in there, wiping him up, change his clothes, and I go to pick him up to sit down in the rocking chair and, like, read him his story again, because now the nap time routine is out the window because 'cause
You've
I'm
got to
walking
start
in
all
here.
over. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was gonna read him a book, I pick him up to read him a book, I'm in my cute little outfit, I had, like, a cute little cropped hoodie, my braids were, like, on point, I was ready to be on camera, and I pick him up and just projectile vomit all over his fuzzy rug on his floor, my hoodie, and my
Oh no.
leggings. Luckily, it didn't get on him. Um,
Oh, of course not.
but yeah, that was I didn't even know that much, could fit in his tummy,
Oh.
and
Oof.
out it came, so yeah, that was fun,
I
but
still think you look cute.
thanks. I had to run and take a shower. I had to change.
It ain't it. It ain't it.
But mhm,
Projectile
mhm.
vomit. So that's how the week's going for you. Um,
Yes, and then right before that, actually, this is just today. I blocked out the rest of the week.
yeah, I
Right,
can't even think about that right now.
I found out something was living in our coffee machine.
I'm sorry, what?
Mhm,
What
mhm.
is living in there?
So it's unclear. I have a Keurig,
Oh,
like
that's the problem.
yes, I agree, and
Mhm.
it's funny because before I moved in with Brian, I was, like, so against Keurigs because I feel like you can't take them apart enough to keep them clean. With a lot of coffee machines, I feel that way too. That's why I like
Yeah,
a French press because I
yes.
can clean it.
You can see it.
I can see all of it, I can clean all of it. Um, anyways, so
French press
I
is delicious too. It's just a pain in the ass.
yes. So I had given in. We're doing the Keurig thing, and which, by the way, I never know if I say that right. Keurig. I don't know.
I think you said it right.
Keurig.
You know I can't pronounce for shit, so
That's true. I'm just kidding.
it is true. The last episode
So
I was like, Rune, run, Rune, run.
and
I couldn't pronounce that guy's name for anything, and I've read 3 books with him
I
as a
think I
character.
was saying like infidelity. Anyways, so I gotta open the thing to put the little pod in there, and
Mhm.
I go to open it and I just see something scutter away real quick.
I don't like that.
I am very disturbed. Um, and it went into the depths of the machine where I cannot find it. To me, what it looked like was like a little centipede millipede thing.
That's probably what it is. It's like a
It may have
baby.
been like a silver fish or maybe like a long skinny roach. I don't know. We really don't have any bugs in our house either,
You have
but
a
it
brand
is
new house,
It is
so
brand new and, like, it is in an like, a kinda rural area, so, we will get, like, wolf spiders, like, in our garage and stuff,
sure.
so I it does we do have I guess we're kinda susceptible to bugs just because the area is, like hasn't even been populated very long, but
How did you take the coffee pot outside of the house and set it on fire?
I did text Brian, and I'm like, "I think we need to get rid of this," but I did need a cup of coffee in that moment, and I did still make it.
No, I okay, so I don't I would have done it too though. So I don't know why I'm like getting sick, but um I don't
I
have a
am a little, like, squeak.
cringed out by it. You know what? I'm gonna DoorDash you some Starbucks really quick because nobody needs that kind of negativity in their life. That was a violent morning for you. Projectile vomit, creatures living in the coffee pot. We have we have a Ninja coffee pot and
I love that thing.
it's great. We've had it for a really long time. I remember when my husband bought it, I was like, that is way too expensive. It was like $150. I was like, that's way too much to spend on a coffee pot. But we've
You
had
guys
it
have
for
had that
8
thing
years.
forever.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
only thing we've ever had to replace is the carafe because I dropped it, like, so we had to buy a new one, but
and that's on you.
and that is on me, but, um, we do take it apart regularly and clean it because, I've seen, like, ants in it before. We have an issue that, like, you will soon discover with your beautiful home that, unfortunately, in Florida, ants are common, and
Mhm.
that's fucking annoying, but when you face that problem, I have all of the
I will
things to
come to you
kill
for
them.
sure.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
to kill them, nice.
we've done the research, like, I know where those fuckers are coming from. Um, they
Hell
they
yeah.
have they've since been evacuated, but I that really grossed me out when
And
that happened.
I
I
don't
don't
even
think you
think
can
we can
take yours
take this
apart.
apart. No,
No.
the way you're supposed to clean it is, like, run vinegar through it. So it's like, yeah, this thing might die. I don't even think it's in the parts that the water is running
It's
through, though.
not.
It's, like, in the machinery. And then if
Mhm.
it's in there, is it? What if
Are
it's
there
a
others?
female? What if it's a female?
There could be.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I just, like, had this realization. Because
It's
I think bugs I've heard that bugs like electronics because they're warm, and
oh,
I know someone who was, like, living in a situation just because of the apartment they were at, like, the landlords would not, like,
yeah,
take care of the bugs, and then I think they had it was, like, a phone or, like, a cable box or something that it was just, like, a colony of, like, roaches in it.
that I can deal with spiders. I can do ants
My
don't gross
stomach
me
is
out
turning. My stomach
necessarily.
is turning right now. It's gotta go. It's
It's
gotta
gonna
go.
get a new
And
coffee pot today.
yes, and it's good timing because someone actually just gave us, like, some other Keurig thing, so,
Oh,
um
there you go. I did have a Keurig once upon a time, and I did really like it, but I did find towards the end of using it, there was always coffee grounds in the coffee,
Yeah.
no
Oh,
matter what you
oh,
did. It just always there was somehow
that's odd for
I think
a
it was
Keurig.
just like we used the shit out of it, and it just
Yeah, mhm.
wasn't good anymore. But French press,
So,
if I
I'm
had
s
more
uh,
energy,
I know.
then I would do that every day.
It's such a
I
pain
love
in
a
the
French
ass.
press.
I used to have, like, an electric kettle, and that made it way better because you just, like, pour water in that thing and, like,
Mhm.
hit the button, and it heats up in, like, 2 minutes, like, kinda like
Yeah.
the Keurig. Um, yeah, but I'm so sick of talking about this. I'm like, my stomach is turning,
Moving
and
on.
I feel like I don't know. Yeah, I need to go burn that right now. Um,
Yeah,
Beverly
that's it.
Hills,
I added Love is Blind back to our talking points. I know that it's the new season's done or whatever, but I happened across a photo of Megan Fox when she was like around the time she was in Transformers. So before she had any plastic surgery. And I just want to point out that Chelsea does look like Megan Fox.
I can
Just
see the
she looks like
similarities.
Megan Fox a long
It's
time ago, not now. She doesn't look like Megan
okay.
Fox now, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever. But I was looking at this picture of Megan Fox, and I was like, it's her teeth. It's like her mouth.
and the
She does look like
eyebrows, like, I
yes,
can see the similarity for
yes.
sure.
I can't see the similarity in Megan Fox currently because
I
I
don't
think
know
her
if I've
face looks
seen
so
her
different.
currently.
Well,
I
you'll
think
have
I've
to
only
Google
seen
that.
yeah, I think I've only seen, like, old
Old.
Megan Fox. Let's see.
She's searching it up.
Yeah, I did.
That's what my youngest always says
Oh,
when he
she
wants
does
to know.
look what, Google it?
He says, "I'm gonna search that up."
I love that. Yeah, she does look different now. Um,
Yeah, just well, and also she was so young in
yeah.
Transformers. Like she naturally, your face changes as you get older. I still
Mhm.
think Megan Fox is beautiful now. I just think she
Yes.
is obviously had something done. I don't know what,
Yeah.
but
Mhm. Um, but yeah, I do think there's some similarity there with Chelsea.
hmm
Also, I haven't looked into it much, but I didn't know, like, watching this season, but I guess Love is Blind is getting, like, sued, by, like, previous cast members for
oh,
and I don't think this is, like, breaking news. Like, I think people have known about this since maybe the season before, But they're just saying it's, like, kind of a toxic environment and, like, they're fed a lot of alcohol and, um, m I don't know the
Okay.
details of it, but, like oh, and I think one of the couples in the last season, even though they filmed them and they made it all the way to the end, they actually, like, didn't include them in the airing of the show at all because, like, I think the guy was super toxic, so I don't know. I'll look into that a little bit more, and I'll update you better next episode.
Yeah,
But
I'm interested to hear about that. Because, I
yeah.
mean, if something happened to them during their filming, I could understand why they might sue. But if you're suing someone for going into a toxic situation that you signed up for, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like like a difference maybe in between what they were told and, like, what actually
Gotcha.
happened. I don't know. But yeah, I'll look into that and I'll update you more next week because I just kinda heard about it, like, a couple days ago, so, um, but Vanderpump,
It was a good episode.
it was a good
I
episode. It was kinda long, wasn't it? It was like isn't it like an hour and a half?
Yeah, I didn't finish the last few minutes yet. The pool
Mhm.
party.
Oh my gosh. Well, good on Schwartz for leaving.
Yeah,
I will
I
say
thought that
that.
was hilarious.
Yeah.
Um,
I think he had good reason, like, he was just,
it felt off. Like it felt weird. He's like, I shouldn't be here. Yeah,
it's weird at their shared home.
it was weird. And I loved how they kept calling it like the sexy singles pool party or something. Like, okay. But also fair. Like,
It was just so cringy watching Tom talk to the women.
oh my gosh. I had to look away during that scene, especially when he said the part about his roommate. He started talking about his
Yes.
roommate, and then he said that he keeps her locked in her room and he crushes up potato chips and puts them under the door for her. And they were just like,
Did he seriously say that?
yes,
I
yes.
don't remember that part. I must have, been, like, looking away or something.
I
Maybe I
almost spit out
blocked it
my
out.
it was after he started talking about his roommate. It was like at the end of
Yeah.
his talk with them.
That is so weird.
So awkward. And the girls looked mortified.
Yeah.
And it's like, he was like, I told you about my roommate, right? And it's like, they know who your fucking roommate is. Everybody in this country knows who you are. Come on.
Right.
Like,
They're like,
it
"We're
was,
actually here for her?"
yeah, we were hoping to see her.
Yeah.
I also would really like to know the full scope of Anne's job responsibilities because I want to know, was she working the pool party? Like, was she getting paid actively to serve shots? Or was she just like, she wasn't there out of the goodness of her heart?
I do not think so. I think she's getting paid for that. It's like he can't it doesn't seem that he can do much, for himself.
Mm-mm. No. And
So
can you just imagine being Anne and someone's like, "Hey, how was your day at work today?" And you're like, "I served shots at an adult pool party with a bunch of washed up 45-year-olds."
no. It's yeah.
Ugh.
I love Anne, but yeah, I do think that, the
Every time
job
she talks
is
to Ariana, she's like, "Sorry." Like she always
yeah.
apologizes and she's like, "Sorry, I got to tell you this awful thing that Tom wanted me to tell you."
Yeah.
Like she just always starts her sentences with an apology.
Mhm.
Poor Anne. Justice for Anne. Get this woman a raise,
Yes.
please.
Yes. It's so weird too, so I feel like he just, like, one more thing on that note. I feel like he kind of, like, has her around at those, like, things when other people are around too, just to, like, show like, I feel like he gets off a little bit on people seeing that he, like, has an assistant,
Yeah,
or, like, it's either that he can afford one or that he's, like, so busy that he needs one. I don't know. I feel like he just kind of likes that aesthetic for himself,
that's fair.
and I think it's weird.
Yeah,
Um,
hate his guts. Is Joe living with Schwartz? That's a valid question. It seems like it.
it does, yeah. It's just, like, not Schwartz, like, saying that he, like, doesn't wanna hop into another relationship, but it's like, but you are." Like, I
Yeah.
I think that that's very smart of you to not do that, but, like,
Mhm.
you are doing everything but have the labels, so, like,
You're in a
you are,
relationship
though,
without having to deal with the
the
relationship part of
commitment
it.
of it.
Yeah, the commitment
But
of
he
it.
is gonna have to deal with it because she's gonna get hurt at some point if he doesn't, like
She strikes me as the type of person who would let something like this carry out for years, though. So I agree with you. I think she is going to get hurt, but I think it's going to
Mhm.
be over a long period of time,
I
and then it's
agree.
going to be like he won't. He's promising me maybe in 10 years, maybe in five
Mhm.
years, whatever, and then he's just never going to do it
Mhm.
because he's Peter Pan.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
Lala and Katie's dinner conversation. I was fully expecting it to them to like get another argument. Yeah, like I just thought it was going to be more back and forth because the way this season is going is very much like obviously Lala and Sheena are like this, which I love for them. And it makes sense. They both have kids that are pretty much the same age. They live next door to each other. Like they obviously very much click. And then same for like Katie and Ariana. They are in more similar places. So it seems like they have really paired up. I think especially being rid of the Toms
Mhm.
has brought them closer.
And the
Um
sandwich shop.
and yeah, the sandwich shop and all that stuff. So I going into that was like, oh, they're just gonna dig deeper into this feud that no doesn't really fully make sense. Um, but I thought it was really mature, and I read your note about it making you cry. Like I also was very teary eyed watching them. It was so mature. Like when Law, she said something like, "Where is there a place where you can be softer with me?"
Mhm.
I was just like, that is such a good way to say that because Katie is very aggressive at times. I don't think she necessarily always means it that way. Um, but I just thought that was so well spoken and like she did such a good job verbalizing what she needed from her friend. So
I agree, yeah, and then Katie, like, instantly took accountability too, and so did
she did.
Lala, and
Yeah.
it was just like, this is what a healthy friendship relationship looks like. This is amazing.
There
It
was
was
no
just really cool to
deflecting.
see.
It was really interesting that conversation um paired against the one with where Ariana and Sheena were talking. Like I felt like Lala and Katie were actually there to hear each other out.
Yes.
Um, Sheena just shows up and is like, "Why doesn't everybody just understand that it's the Sheena show?"
Right.
Like,
And, like, again, so we were talking about in one of the previous episodes, like, how long we're not totally sure how long it's been since, like, Sandoval actually, like, broke to the public and when they're
right?
filming, but it's probably less time than, like, what you would think, right? Like, I feel like it's
Yeah,
pretty close to when Sandoval, like,
what happened?
happened. So, like, Ariana is still, like, healing, like, in the midst of it, like, in the throes of, like, this being
Yeah,
fresh and healing and stuff, and yeah, it's just so weird that she's like, "Well, what if in the future, like, Tom has worked on himself?" And then,
I
like,
know.
"What, girl?"
And I did think it was interesting that Ariana was like, I think that she fully plans on having a friendship with him and she just thinks she's softening the blow. Like she thinks
Yeah.
she's being clever, but actually it's very transparent.
It
Everybody can see that you want to be friends with him again.
Yeah, it's just she's so scared to, like, just make a decision and, like, say what she wants to do, and, like, sometimes you have to make a decision that might have some downsides, like, if you wanna be friends with Sandoval, just do it,
Yeah.
and know that maybe you and Ariana won't be friends for some time, maybe ever, or if it's not worth it to you, just pick Ariana and stay on her side, like, what is this? Just
Yeah.
you have to make a choice here.
You ha- you also have to see how confusing that is for other people and that Ariana doesn't have to agree with Sheena wanting to be friends. Like
Mhm.
I find this situation very interesting because I really do understand both sides. I can understand
Yeah.
Sheena wanting to forgive her friend um of 14 years and wanting to move past it, but I can also understand Ariana saying, "No, I'm not going to give a person like that access to me, so if you want to be in their life, you're not in mine." Where's the
100%.
line? Like, where maybe that's just is what it is.
I also don't really understand, like, I guess the, like, pull to even wanna be friends with Sandoval. Like, it he's just proven to not be that great of a person, and, like, can people grow and become better people? Yes, and I do hope that for him, but, like, it just feels like there's been so much damage in this friendship or friend group, I mean, that I don't know if he's gonna get that in this friend group. Like, he
Yeah.
works with them, so he might have to get along with them to a certain point to, like, be on the show, but, like, in reality, like, actual life, like, he probably needs to grow with new people.
Yes, absolutely. They all need to grow outside of each other, I think.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you're
I don't know, like, Ariana and Katie, Lala, like, they're all, I think, helping each other, supporting each other, but, like,
yeah.
yeah, Sheena is just like, "Y girl, what are you doing?"
I think it in my opinion, it really plays to the fact that Shayna just has a victim mentality. I think she
Mhm.
always just needs something to be upset about. If she's not the center of attention, there's not drama directly on her, then she always finds it. And
Yeah.
those type of people are always the ones that say, like, I hate drama and I
Mhm.
try to stay out of it. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, you don't. You really don't. Because it's like she doubled down and she always does. She doubles down when the crew is like, "Hey, you're being flip-floppy." And she's like, "No, I'm not." And then she proceeds to flip-flop.
Mhm.
And
It's
it's like that's fine, but just accept that you are the flip-flop queen and we'll be good.
right. Yes, 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 yeah. Yeah, the whole thing
It's
is,
weird.
and every time I start sympathizing with Sheena, she does something that makes me regret it or just be
Yes.
like, "Nope, I can't be on your side anymore." Like, every
Yeah.
time I start feeling a little ounce of, like, empathy, it's like, "Well, now
The
you
whole
fucked
Dancing with
up."
the Stars thing, like,
Yeah.
at first listening to her conversation with Lisa in the last episode about how upset she was, I'm like, "Okay, I could see this if this has, like, been a goal of hers for a while, that people actively know that she's wanted that, um, then I can understand why she's so upset." But it's is she
Then the
literally
backup
says
dancer
well, that
comment?
and then, like, she in this episode, she says, like, um was I devastated? Not devastated. Was I disappointed? Did I cry? Um, what else did she say? Hold on, I
And
have
that
it
is
written
so
down.
weird to me too that, like, she was that upset about it, like, I don't know, I can't understand that, like, it's not mutually exclusive, like, just because Ariana did Dancing with the Stars doesn't mean you can never do Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, she
Like,
said,
that's
"Was
so
it a
weird to
punch
me.
to the gut?"
Oh, yeah.
Get Ariana getting Dancing with the Stars is a punch to the gut. I'm sorry, but that's a little extreme.
And just
Um,
mean.
it is, and so she's saying all this stuff like, "Was I disappointed? Was I whatever?" And then she's like, "You know I'm happy for you, right?" And she, like, flips her hair. It's just like, "No
Actually,
one
I
believes
don't.
you."
Yeah, I don't know that.
That's the least bit, supportive, uh, friend. I don't know. She's sitting here saying, like, "I'm happy for you," when her face says the exact opposite.
Mhm. One of the other things I didn't like too, so I was sympathizing with her on a lot of this stuff from the, like, with the Sandoval stuff, a lot of that the Dancing with the Stars stuff, like, everything that's come up, and then, um, so Ariana asked to have this conversation with Sheena because Ariana is hearing from everyone else that
That
Sheena
she's
is
a
upset with her. So Ariana's doing the right thing and coming directly to her friend. And it's just like that was a point where I was, like, sympathizing with her, and then it's like, you're talking all this trash about this girl behind her back instead of just going to her, and that was just another moment when I was like oh, and Ariana called her out for that too, which I did
She
kinda
did. She
like, yeah.
said, like, "I don't you're going to other people and saying these things, and I don't know if you're gonna say that to my face." And I when I read your note, I was like, "Yes, Sheena deflects automatically. As soon as those words come out of Ariana's mouth, she deflects it." And
Mhm.
you could see the moment in her eyes when she decided she was gonna deflect. Like, she looks away from Ariana, and then she's like, "Well, me and Lala are just closer." Like,
Yeah, until you start talking about Lala behind her back, and I'll tell you what, Lala's not gonna handle that. She ain't gonna deal with that.
mm-mm.
Oh, did you
Joe's
write
turtle
Joe's turtle
story.
story? I
Yeah. I had a pet
almost
turtle and I was walking it on a leash and it fell into a sewer? And it turned into, like, and she's like, it turned into a Ninja Turtle, like,
No, girl, that turtle died.
yeah.
That turtle was a snack, probably. That turtle did not know how to live in a
It's
sewer.
so odd.
That was weird, yeah.
I loved, seeing Tom's demeanor change the second Ariana walked into the bar. It was hilarious. And she even said, like, "I can feel his eyes on me." Like,
Yes.
he's pissed. Like,
It
he's gonna
was
pretend like he's so happy you're here around your friends and everything, but in reality, like, we all know that this is war and that he's trying like, he wants to steal the friends. He doesn't want them to be friends with both of them. He wants them
it
to
was
choose.
such a baller move too, like, just and the way that they filmed it too, I think added to it, but, like, just, like, Katie and Ariana just, like, strutting into this place,
And
I
everybody's like,
loved
"Hey,"
it. Like,
and, like,
really excited to see
made
her
this
there.
huge deal about it. It's like, that had the intended effect that you
Yes,
wanted to do.
I love that.
At the bar when Sheena goes over to talk to Schwartz, and Schwartz is like, "Oh, hey, do you come here often?" It completely went over her head, and she's like, "Not for a while, actually."
Yes, I noticed that
I
too.
I die dead every time she says something like that. Just totally over her head. Oh. Yeah, Sheena just kind of goes into like fix it mode at the bar,
It was
and
so weird, and, like, the stuff with Katie too, like, no one has brought that up recently, like
that was a
well,
little
at least
odd.
that we have seen. Maybe they had, like, when cameras weren't around, so maybe that's where it came from, but, yeah, it was just and it was odd because she hung out with Sandoval at Lake Tahoe,
Hmm.
and it was nothing about it wasn't like that, but the
Yeah,
second Ariana walks in when Sandoval's there, then she's, like,
odd
kinda
choice.
on him. It was weird.
Odd choice. And I do think I, I assumed the reason that she used Katie as an example in that moment was because she's also trying to get back in Katie's good graces. So I think maybe she thought like if she could get Sandoval to apologize to Katie for being shitty throughout her divorce with Schwartz, that maybe she would have some more sway with Katie. I don't know.
Or with
It just didn't.
Ariana, you
Um,
mean? Like, if Katie is
no, I
friends with
mean
him?
Katie because
Oh,
she's telling him to apologize to Katie
mhm.
for the Schwartz stuff, and I feel like it was like manipulative. Like she was like, I can kill
Yes.
two birds with one stone. I can give him advice and show him I'm being his friend, but I can also get him to like start making amends with Katie, and then maybe the whole group will make amends if Katie
S
does it.
so the angle I thought she had there was, it kind of similar, but to get, like, Katie warmed up to Schwartz a little, that way, like, next time she, like, talks to Ariana about it and Katie is around, then maybe Katie would be, like, more on her
Mm,
side with it. So,
yeah,
like, kind of trying to get other friends, like, also more warmed up to Schwartz so that Ariana, like, has to,
yeah.
like, be okay with it or something like that, which is I don't know. I hope that's not why she was doing it, but that's kinda what came to mind.
No matter what the intentions were, it was weird.
It was weird. It was weird
It was
timing.
really
Very
weird.
weird timing, yeah.
And then she just gets mad that he doesn't take he gets mad and that
Yeah.
he's like, I'm tired of groveling. And she's like, maybe you should just be humble. It's like every time someone tells that man to be humble, he is the opposite of humble. So, like, if you're trying to get him to be not humble, that's a great way to do it. Reverse psychology him.
I like the I think you added this one, but when James walks up to Sandoval right after that, and he's just like, "Come on, Tom." Yeah.
He's like, your life is in shambles and you're gonna like ruin like Sheena's trying to help you out, man. If you're gonna be nice to anybody, it should be Sheena.
Right.
And if James is the voice of reason, then we got problems.
Right.
If James Kennedy is the one that's, like, making the most sense,
Lord
everybody
help
needs to shut
us.
it down.
Lord help us. I thought it was really weird when Sheena called Brock Sandoval when they were arguing. They had this, like, little tiff,
That
and
was weird.
it ended cutely, like, with Brock, like, drawing the little
Yeah.
face on the thing, and they, like, giggled about it, but, yeah, like, the what she went, "Okay, Sandoval," to her husband? I
Yeah.
don't know, that's weird. I don't really call my husband other men's names. I don't it just is weird.
Specifically not that one.
Right.
It was a weird choice of words. Spin.
Yeah, I just feel like overall, like, Sheena's kind of with this whole, like, "I wanna be friends with Tom Sandoval" thing, I feel like she's kinda playing checkers with it,
Mhm.
and Ariana is playing chess. Like,
Yeah.
Ariana's not dumb, she sees the overall picture, like, she
Yeah.
sees what you're doing, and I don't know, she's just trying to, like, tiptoe towards it, and it's weird. Um,
It's very strange,
I
and
l
it's also kind of sad because I feel like Sheena and Ariana were, like, each other's number ones for so long. It is bummer to, like, see them having this weird dynamic now, and I am curious to see how it plays out over the rest of the season, and I would love to know where they stand today.
I know. Yeah. I don't follow them on social media, which I'm probably going to after this season, but I don't like to because I don't wanna see the updates.
That's fair.
Although, that update from Ally is super cute. We should probably maybe touch on that a little bit that,
What update?
you sent, a story of Ally, like, doing the music video
Oh, yeah.
um, for her, I guess, first single that's coming out, and
Yeah,
I'm just, like, so happy to hear that because that little clip was super cute that they played,
of her
and then
singing she was singing Taylor Swift, right? In that
no, it
clip?
wasn't. I think it was her like, a song of her own. I don't think it was.
Right, I was thinking of, on the show recently, they showed a clip of her
Yeah.
playing guitar and singing Taylor Swift. That's what I was
No, I don't think it was Taylor Swift. I think it was her own song that they showed the clip of in this show. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. I don't know.
I
I
She
could
was
be
talking
wrong.
about Taylor Swift, I could have sworn they, like, cut to her and she was singing it.
So she was talking about Taylor Swift, and then she was like, "I thought I could be Taylor Swift," and they cut to her, like, singing, but she was
Got it.
singing one of her own songs, I think.
I that's not how it happened in my head, but yes.
And I could be wrong, I could be wrong.
No, I think you are right. I think you are right now that you said that.
Um, but what was I gonna say? Oh, I just thought it was so funny that Sheena is a backup dancer
In the video.
in in her so maybe Sheena's next for Dancing with Stars, who knows?
Well, and I also found it very interesting. I don't know if you picked up on this. The name of this Ally song is "Girls Girl," and I don't know
I
about
did
you, but
not.
I just think that Sheena might not be the right demographic for something called "Girls Girl." I'm just saying,
That is hilarious, I did not know that, and I also, I wanna hear the song, I wonder if it's out now.
right?
Um,
Also, Team Ally for life. She
I love her.
really has brought a lot to I love her. Every time she's in a scene, I'm happy
I
to
hope they
see
don't
her.
make us hate her,
I
because
know.
right now I love her.
I I really like her. I see why James dates her. I don't necessarily see why she's dating James. I feel
Yeah,
like she could do so much better. But I do really like her a lot.
me
So,
too. I loved that Katie gave us another, Fathomless. That's, like, one of my f I'm gonna start incorporating this into my dictionary
yeah.
because it really just, like, hits home.
Well, and that whole conversation was just weird with
Mhm,
the apology.
mhm, mhm, and when he walked out too, at the end of the conversation, "You look
Yeah.
good."
Yeah,
"What?"
like that was really odd. It
Yeah.
almost felt like it was edited back like in if you hadn't seen
Oh.
him, like, actually say but, like, you can see that he's actually
Oh,
saying
you
that.
can? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so first of all, like, I don't know, just when women when men tell women, "You look good," it's like, I need no confirmation from you. Eh,
Right, and I feel
of
like
all
Katie
people?
has given no indication that like, she barely even made eye contact in that conversation. You could tell she was like, "I'm not doing this with you. I don't have to accept your apology. I
Right.
don't no. I
Yeah,
don't owe
and
you
she's like,
anything." And
"Actions speak louder than words."
he even said, "Give me grace," and she said, "No."
Yes. Yeah.
Not a man who blew up his entire life on national television asking for grace.
Right, and then what a
No.
way to, like, end it. It's just so weird to me. "You look good." "Thanks, I
Yeah.
wasn't asking you." Like, I know.
It also seems like more of a way you like introduce a conversation rather than end it. Like what a
Yes.
weird way to end things.
It
Like
was so odd.
did you just need the final word or
Right.
did, well,
That was weird.
well
It was so weird.
I complimented her and she totally turned me down like no. No.
Yeah. Did I write this or did you write that? Tom is clearly not sorry to Katie.
Oh, I wrote that, I think.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
think he's sorry. I think he's just saying it because he
Hmm.
is trying to save face. He's messed up, and now, like, he's trying to make everything better just by
Yeah.
going on, like, this apology tour. And I don't think
Hmm.
it's gonna work on I don't think it's ever gonna work on Katie.
Well, I don't think Katie's she's a girl's girl.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry if I'm best friends with someone, unless they still want to work on it, that guy is out of my life if something like
Yeah.
that happened. Like,
Yeah.
that's yeah. Um,
And she's made it clear that that's her stance.
yes, very clear.
And
I don't yeah. I don't think that could be debated.
you look good. Well, you don't, okay, Tom?
All right, Crescent City.
I First of all, if you have not read Crescent City and you plan to, stop listening. I feel like I
Spoiler,
haven't said
spoiler,
that.
spoiler.
Yeah, I'm gonna give spoilers. I feel like I have only said that once, and I've talked about Crescent City on every single episode, I think.
Yeah, we
So,
probably should throw that. But we do Love is Blind and stuff too. Like, we don't give spoilers out.
yeah, I hope that
Spoiler alerts. I guess maybe we
I
should.
yeah, spoilers, spoilers.
Also,
I Go ahead.
sorry, Crescent City came like this new book came out a little while ago too, right? Like,
Um, like 2 months ago.
yeah.
So it
So
hasn't
I think
been
that's
in the book world. I feel like that's not that long, but yes, it was recent.
oh, okay.
I
Okay.
don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, because I knew like when the new Harry Potter books would come out, I would just binge them right away, you know? And I think a
Yeah,
lot of people
I think a lot of
do
people
that.
do. I guess because I didn't, I'm like the rest of the world couldn't have possibly binged it that fast. Like I was still catching up on book two. I finished Crescent City 3.
Oh, we're done. Wow.
We're totally done. We sped through the last little bit. Um, Everything just works out in the end.
Cool.
Which was weird, and it also could have been the end of the series, but it's not clear. Like, is there another book
Oh,
or gonna be coming for this or
I
not?
hate when they do
Because
that. It's
well,
like you don't
yeah,
know if you're getting more.
and I don't know. Sarah J. Maas may have confirmed that there is another one or isn't another one. I'm honestly not sure. No authority whatsoever. But the
Email us,
way,
let us know if you
yeah,
know.
the way it ended, I could see there being another book, but it also could have just been the end. So I told you about the Asteri, and I told you about the Hind, aka Lydia, aka Agent Daybright, aka
Hmm.
how many other fucking names can she have? Um, and so you find out from last time after I found out that she had sons, I just couldn't stop reading because I was like, who the fuck are the fathers? The author didn't do a good job with that part. I think it
Oh
could have been more
no.
interesting. Like the father part of the background is just vague, and it's like, oh, it was just like our people, it was our job to like mate basically, and she hid her pregnancy and made sure that her sons were going to have parents to take care of them since she could not. And so there is parts of the story where like she is like trying to form a relationship with them, or even just like some understanding because they're like teenage boys. And of course they find out who their mom is, and they're like, you're the Hind, everyone hates you because you're evil, but now we find out you're a rebel and you're trying to save everybody. So that part was interesting, but then slowly like pieces just started to fall into place. Like a lot of the main characters became um people of power, and then they just kick the Asteri's ass and live happily ever after. And I was just like, really? That's the
Hmm.
like it was like too good. It's
Yeah.
as a book reader, you
And too
always want
easy.
too easy. That's what it
Yeah.
was. It was like it just worked out. You guys just these people, the Asteri, are so awful that no one's ever been able to overtake them, and then you guys just do. Your plan just works out.
Yeah. It almost sounds like the Game of Thrones ending.
That's exactly what my husband said. It was a little disappointing. Just like I don't know. I think it was rushed, like whatever, but it wasn't my favorite. So I was a little disappointed.
Dang.
And I think that's the general consensus from her fan base is that like this book really just wasn't that great. And it was sloppy, and there were details like the part with Lydia and her having kids, and I feel like they could have done so much more with the backstory there.
Do you think if they do another book that they will? Like, did they leave it in a
Maybe.
spot where they can add on?
Well, I do think they could. I
Mhm.
would be curious to see what the big bad is if they do another book. So I don't
Mhm.
know. I do think it could be that's why I didn't mind the ending too much. Is like, well, it leaves room um for
Is
her
there
day. So yeah, I would still, if she came out with another book, I'm definitely gonna read it, you know?
Yeah.
I just think she definitely rushed this,
Mhm.
and I think it's a shame because I think it's just because she's popular now, and it's more of like a money thing. Like, I'm just gonna make a bunch of money because everyone will read anything I put out because they love me
Right.
because I put out
Yeah.
so many great books before.
That stinks.
Yeah, so a little disappointing, but overall, I did still really like the series, and I was genuinely shocked about the Hind. So,
Mhm.
and I was very happy that the Hind, of all the characters, I don't know why I was really happy that she had a happy ending, because she tried to sacrifice herself like 5 different times, and you're like, "No, please."
Yeah.
Like, she deserves good. She's had a lifetime of shit, like
Yeah.
being this undercover agent. Um, so yeah, justice for
Did
Lydia.
did she end up with the guy who was in love with her?
They're
Nice.
mates.
Okay.
They were
Aw,
mates, yeah.
that's
Which I
cute.
kind of
Okay.
assumed because, like, I think this author is pretty obvious about it when 2 characters are gonna end up together. She always makes them mates. They're always
Yeah.
mates. And it's like,
Mhm.
can they just love each other? Do they really have to have this, like, this universe? I don't know. Like, I just think the idea of mates is a little weird, to be honest.
Yeah, it sounds a little weird to me as well.
But all of her books, and maybe that is just um part of reading fantasy. I think a lot of authors in that genre use that angle
Hmm.
because I
When
think
you
it's
say
just
mates, are
female
you talking
writers.
about, like, soulmates? Like
Yeah, so it's like predestined that these people are
oh,
supposed to be together. Like,
yeah.
so to me, it's like it just takes the choice out of it. It's like they were
Mhm.
meant to be together. I'm like, I don't think
Yeah.
that is as special as you think that is.
Yeah,
I
something
think
about it
that's
makes
actually
me, like,
gross. Ick.
squirmy inside. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know
like
what
that.
that is.
So, and it's like you find out that Bryce's mate Hunt is actually from Hell, and um, so I had a point and I lost it.
That's okay.
They so you find out that Bryce's mate Hunt is from Hell, because they go to Hell and they're like, "Hey, we need your help against the Asteri," and they're like, "Hey, Hunt, we're your daddies," and he has multiple dads, like 2 dads, 2 demon dads, and they were like, "Yeah, we're your dads," and
We're your daddies.
and he was a little upset for a while because they were like, "Well, you were made to activate Bryce. Like, Bryce's powers, she has to be like powered up. So Hunt like throws his lightning at her essentially to like
Rude.
activate her powers." I know, it's scary. I'm like, you're gonna fry the bitch, okay? Calm
Right.
down. um, so it's it's a little weird to me, the idea of mates. It's not my
Yeah,
favorite thing in the fantasy reading realm. So
I
can
can
we
get
stop
behind you
doing
on
that,
that.
Sarah J. Moss?
Yeah, yeah,
No
yeah.
more mates.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
We skipped the valley. I think that's okay. It was kind of boring, so we'll just touch on it next week.
Yeah, I still need to watch it. I'm not stoked to watch Kristen
Actually,
again.
she does seem like she's in a better place, but it's only one episode in, so
I hope for her sake.
she is. I guess we can talk about it a little bit. So on the valley, it just came on after Vanderpump, which is the only
Mhm.
reason I watched it. But the biggest update is Kristen is dating this new guy. They haven't been dating for that long. And it seems like they got together pretty soon after she broke up with the old dude. Um, but they've been together, I don't know, I thought she said like 7 months or something. I could be wrong. But they're doing a long distance thing. She met him at a wedding and he lives like in like Missouri or something like that. And
Gotcha.
they're doing long distance and he's going to come stay with her for the summer because they want to have a baby. So it's like right. So it's a big thing on the
It's for a
show
baby, please.
of like of course all the men are like, you can't have a baby out of wedlock. And when I say all the men, I mean Jax.
That's hilarious. You're like,
Um
can you give nobody any life advice? Nobody needs advice from Jax.
Correct. Yeah. We didn't even touch that he came on Vanderpump, I don't think.
Oh, I
Um
didn't see that part. I think I paused it right
uh
before that. Um,
it
so yeah, I still have to finish that. I'm
it
excited
was
to
funny
see it.
because Schwartz brought him on to like kind of help Tom because Tom is in such a dark place, which what was Schwartz thinking? But
Yeah.
Jax pretty much just
Jax and
goes in
Sandoval
on
are like
Tom.
so competitive. Yeah, I bet he does. It's like, Tom, you're a piece of shit for once. I'm not the one being a piece of shit, so I am gonna come after you. I believe that.
It's crazy
That's
that you didn't see it because that's almost word for word
I
like
believe,
what
like, I fully
happens.
believe him to eviscerate, like, he'll eviscerate him. Like, after, are you kidding? Jax was probably so happy when Scandival broke.
I
He's
bet,
like, I'm back to
yeah.
being the number one guy in the
Mhm.
group.
And more content too, like, I think they talk about it on their podcast and stuff, so
Oh, yeah, Jax and Brittany have a podcast, don't they?
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay,
So,
interesting. Okay, well,
I don't know about anymore because 'cause they're separated
TBD.
now, so, yeah.
Thank God.
Um,
Good for you, Brittany. You finally came to your senses.
um, so story time. Last week, you mentioned a couple stories you wanted to tell me, and we just didn't get to it, so I've been on
Yes.
the edge of my seat for 2 weeks now.
So these are ridiculous. Sometimes on the weekends, I'm always up before everybody else in my household. Um, and so sometimes on the weekends, I'll get up early and go out and get myself coffee, and then I'll stop and get my boys like donuts or something like that. And so it was pretty early in the morning, and it was like 7:30, and I went out and I got my coffee, and then I stopped at 7-Eleven to get donuts. And go in, get the donuts, come back out, and I go to get in my car, and I'm like, the door won't open. I know I left it unlocked. Like, and I look up, and this person is just like looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And I look, and I'm like, this is not my car. But it was like the exact same color. It was a big SUV, so it was like really
Oh
similar.
my
And my car
god.
was just one spot over, and I was just like,
It's
okay,
so
it's
funny.
7:30 in the morning, like whatever. They weren't like upset. They were just like,
Like, I have done that before, but never, like, with someone in the
in the
vehicle. So
vehicle. Yeah, usually
that's
it's just
so
like
funny to
nobody sees
me.
you, and you just live with it yourself. Like, I can't believe I just tried to get into their car. Well, I wound up having to go back to the gas station because as I was leaving, my husband called and was like, "Hey, would you mind grabbing me an energy drink while you're at the store?" And I like hadn't even pulled out of the parking lot yet, so I like did a Yui and went back and parked, and then I went inside to get the energy drink, and the cash register lady just was cackling, and she was like, "Saw you trying to get into the wrong car." So not only did the person in the vehicle see me, but also the people who worked there witnessed it. She's like, and I was like buying an energy drink. She's like, "You're gonna need this." Like, it's not for me. It's not for me.
Can you imagine, like, being that person too? So I'm always, like, on the edge of my seat, literally. Like, I listen to way too much true crime, so I'm
Yeah.
just like, uh, everyone is trying to kill me is kind of
Yeah.
the state that I live in mentally. So if someone was approaching, like, honestly, if anyone gets within 10 feet of my car, I am on high alert. If they come
Yes.
and try to open my door, I would probably literally drive away, like, while their hand is on the door.
And run their foot over to like get away. So mortified. I haven't been back to 7-Eleven since.
So it's not the my next question was gonna be if it's the same gas station.
No.
It's not. Okay.
They don't have donuts at that one.
So, just for the people listening, I was asking if it's the same gas station from, was that our last episode?
I
No, it
think,
was, like, 2 episodes ago.
yeah,
Oh
few.
god, I actually don't know how many it was
It was
ago.
earlier on in one of the first few, I think,
The one
that
where
we
I
talked about it.
had a bathroom incident at the gas
Yeah,
station,
she
but
did. She did.
not the
She
same
can
gas
never
station.
go back to that gas station again.
I cannot. So, for my story time, I have like a little a tale of living in the same town for too long. So I have pretty much lived in the same area since I was 3 years old, generally in
That's
the
wild to me.
same area. And I moved away for like 5 years. I lived on the West Coast. I lived in Washington State and Oregon State, and then I came back. So yeah, back on the East Coast, back in Florida, in the same area that I grew up in. And recently, in the last year, I had a baby, I got married, and we're buying a house. We bought a house. So it was just funny. My husband now isn't really attached to my previous life at all. I met him on Tinder, like through disc golf. But like most of the people I know in the area, I've known for a long time. And through our house buying process, so my husband like handled most of like the emails with like
Yeah.
the financial people, and he just did most of that, and I was like copied into a lot of them, but I usually didn't really like read through it unless he told me like there's something that I needed to sign or to do. So for this one time, I think there was something I needed to do, or maybe I was just curious reading through it. I can't remember, but I read through this email and then I look at the signature from the person, and the signature happens to be the same name as one of my ex-boyfriends. And most of my exes I'm still like in contact with. Not this one.
But not this one.
But not this one. So he and I actually had like a fine breakup. We were on good terms.
Yeah.
And we were friends for a while after, until he had gotten a new girlfriend even, and I had like, me and that girl were never really friends because that was when I had moved out to the West Coast. So like they're also hanging out in the same friend group, but I was out on the West Coast, so we were never like buddy friends or anything. But I had like, I know there's one time when they would all hang out at like the same friend's house. I was out on the West Coast. He got a new girlfriend. And I had sent them all. So this whole group friend would usually hang out at like one person's house mostly. And I sent Christmas presents one year for like almost everyone who like would hang out there. And I was kind of on the fence about sending it to like this ex and his new girlfriend because I just like wasn't really in contact with them much anymore. But I also didn't want them to like feel left out if they were over there, like when the gifts came in and everyone else gets gifts, you know. These were
Right.
all like little under $5 gifts, just like little cutesy things. So I included them and I sent them gifts as well. And then the girl actually reached out to me, the new girlfriend, and like said thanks for the gifts and stuff. And I said, yeah, you're welcome, you know, and like maybe next time I'm in town we'll like hang out with everyone or something like that. So I thought her and I were cool. It was the impression I was under. So I came back to Florida. It was when I moved back. So I came back to Florida because I was breaking up with the guy who I was living with in Oregon, and it was his house. Like we were living in his house that he had purchased. So him and I were like kind of separating. We weren't sure if we were going to like break up for good or not, but I was coming back to Florida to like get some space and kind of figure out where we're going to go after that.
Right.
It was kind of bad timing because right when I was coming back to Florida, like 7 of my best friends who lived here in Florida were going out to Oregon, and they were actually going to work on the farm on my ex's, not my ex, but the guy who I was separating from at the time. They were going to like work on his farm. So it was kind of just like weird timing with us crossing paths. But so all my friends that were going out to Oregon had this going away party. And the new girlfriend of my ex, who let's give like a fake name so we can keep track of it, I feel like. Let's do Brenda. Okay.
Brenda. I don't even know anyone named Brenda.
Same. Yes. So, Devin, I'm going to call my ex Devin.
Oh, who's Devin?
I'm going to call him Devin. Okay. So
Devin and
Devin
Brenda.
and Brenda. Yes. Okay. So all my other friends are leaving town out to Oregon. They're having a going away party. Brenda was so against seeing me apparently that they had to have a separate going away party.
So weird.
My friends did, because Brenda would not be in like the same area with me. And I remember just being like so kind of hurt because I had just gotten back to town and I didn't realize that
Yeah.
she felt this way about me at all. I had no idea. And I saw like Snapchats and stuff that they were all hanging out. And I was just like, this is so weird. Like, why did no one invite me when I haven't seen these people in so long? And I was over at another one of my good friends' house. And she actually told me that night, she was like, well, I actually didn't go to that because I thought it was really mean that they weren't inviting you. So I stayed back and I was like, well, why did no one invite me? I don't understand. And then that's when I found out it was because she like wouldn't be around me. And
That's so weird.
it was so weird. And I guess the reason she didn't like me is because he had been like arrested when we were together. We both got arrested. But it was kind of like more so his fault.
Yeah.
But it was poor decisions.
She blames you for that.
Yes, she blames me for that and the fact that he like didn't go to school while he was with me or like do anything to like kind of make himself a better person, which like
That's your fault, Tori. Oh my
Right.
gosh, how do you live with yourself?
And I was pushing him to like do that stuff when he was with me too. And you know, he just wasn't in a place in his life at that time where he wanted to do that.
We were very young.
Yeah, exactly.
When you guys were together. We
Right.
were very young.
Right. So this is a lot of backstory.
Not Tori's job. No. This is a lot of backstory.
And honestly, I was working. He was just like living in my parents' house, not working. So I was telling him to get a job. Yeah. It would have made things easier on me with my parents and stuff. But he just wasn't in a place where he was being productive like that in his life. And that's fine. We've all had places like that in our lives.
So your loan officer.
Yes. So the email signature had Devin's name on it. And at this point, I'm like, I have no idea where Devin is in life anymore because we have been out of contact for so long. So I'm like, is this the same Devin? It's a kind of common name. Like it could be someone else, but it is in the same area. And then so some of my friends started sleuthing. They went on like
our
LinkedIn.
Friend went into major sleuth mode. I thought it was crazy how fast she was like, he's your loan officer.
I was impressed. Yeah. Great detective work. You know who you are. Yeah, so we found out it was the same Devin. And I just thought it was so weird that here we are so many years later. I haven't been in contact with him for so long. And he's the loan officer on my house. My first thought was that I felt very uncomfortable with it. Like I kind of
I get that.
Spiraled at first because I knew that, you know, and Brenda is now his wife and they have an adorable kid together. So I don't know if Brenda still like has this big thing against me or not. So I just felt like super uncomfortable with that at first. But then I did talk to like some of our mutual friends and they kind of like reassured me that they don't think he has like any like ill will towards me, I guess, or hard feelings. So I just kind of settled it on like, as long as nothing weird or bad comes up, then
just roll with it.
Then I'll just roll with it. But it was just so like,
what are the chances?
Such a weird circumstance. And then the fact that like no one said anything about it too.
Right.
Like, we're over here like, does he know it's me? Because my last name is changed. But he lived with me and my parents, and I had to send in like, my mom had gifted us some money for the down payment, and so we had to like include her information in some of this. So I'm like, there's no way he doesn't know now, like after it was my name and my mom's name. Right. So it was just such a weird I just
feel like you guys are gonna run into each other one day and it's gonna be like, do you remember that? Did you know? Like,
I know,
this
right?
Weird, like,
I don't think we would talk to each other. Probably would just like pretend we didn't see each other.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons I am so glad that I don't live anywhere near my hometown.
It's so funny, like, it hasn't been until this last, like, 3 or 4 years, it's like, everywhere we go, I feel like s an ex-boyfriend of mine is there.
They
It's
just pop
just
up. Hey, Tori.
there's a few of them out there, you know, and I've always been in, like, long-term relationships, it's not like I'm just, like and there's nothing wrong with hopping from one guy to the other, but that's just not my story, like,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of my exes just kinda bopping about town, so, yeah, that was just a really
I just like
funny,
the whole
weird
time was like,
occurrence.
is he gonna send her like this, like a Facebook message or something and be like, hey, everything's
Yes.
cool? Like,
Yeah, we
nope.
none of us ever acknowledged it, and then thankfully he was not there at closing, like, I was like,
That's what
"What are
I
we
was
gonna
wondering.
do?"
Like, do they have to come face to face with him at any point? It's gonna be so awkward. His
So
wife just
awkward.
shows up.
Oh my
She's like, I
gosh.
hate you. And she gives back the Christmas presents. So weird.
That would be kind of badass of her, though, I'm not gonna lie, that would be so funny.
I'm just not here for women hating on other women just because they have an ex in common or like a person in common. I just think that's
It was so weird, and, like, within our friend group too, like, that wasn't a thing, like, I have friends who've dated other exes
right.
of
I
mine,
know. A
and,
couple
like
of your like close
a
friends.
few. Yeah. And, we're all cool people, we get over it, like, it's not I don't know. Yeah, that was a very weird part of my life.
I think that's why I found it to be the weirdest because your guys' friend group has always been just so like welcoming and warm to anyone and everyone.
Yeah.
It just seemed odd. And the ex, like I always loved him. He was great to everybody.
Mhm.
So it was like it was weird to think about like him being with someone who would be that
Yeah.
adamant. Like, no, we can't have a
So
party where she's there. We have to have our own.
and it's, like, not even her own party, that's the
Right.
thing, is
It's not
she's,
for
like,
you.
dictating to someone else with their party, like, I'm not gonna go if that person is there, so you have to have another party. It was just so weird.
Which pocket do you keep the audacity in?
Yes.
Like front pocket, back pocket,
Yeah.
jacket, like where are you keeping that?
Right.
Mm-mm,
It's yeah, so
no.
weird. Um So another little snippet into my life, I was talking about how I used to live out in Oregon.
Mhm.
Um, when me and let's see, what should we call this ex? The ex I lived in Oregon with, um,
Grumpy
Stuart,
bear.
Grumpy Bear.
I'm looking at a Care Bear notebook on my son's desk.
I'm gonna go with Stuart.
Stuart's fine.
So dated Stuart. We lived out on the West Coast for like 5 years, and then when things split up, I came to Florida. I think I was here for like a month or two, while we were like in the separating process. While we were deciding if we really wanted to be separated or not. And then I flew back. Once we had made the decision, I flew back to Oregon because my car was there, my dog was still there, my belongings were still there. So I flew back so I could get my stuff and take the road trip back to Florida because I needed my car. So just me and my dog were coming across the country from Oregon to Florida, which is honestly one of the coolest things I've ever done. Like that
I think
trip,
that's so badass that you did that.
that trip was like it was just so meaningful to me, and I didn't expect that going into it. I thought it was gonna be just kind of scary and, like, sad being alone,
Yeah.
especially considering the circumstances of, like, moving into a new chapter of life and stuff like that, but it was one of the coolest things I've ever done, definitely. We got to go to Lake Zion, the Grand Canyon, we just did a lot of really cool things, just me and my doggo. Um, but so the first night, we were somewhere in Northern California and just driving, like, through these winding back mountain roads, and the speed limit, surprisingly, I believe was, like, 65 no, 70, that's what it was, and these were, like, curvy mountain roads,
Mhm.
and on one side, it's just straight down, the other side, it's straight up, like a mountain road. There's really no shoulder at all,
Yeah.
and I think I was going, like, 65, 70 because I really felt like I couldn't even go 70 a lot of it because the curves and stuff, and it
Scary.
was nighttime, I don't know the roads, so I'm going, like, 65. All of a sudden, I come around this turn, and there's a deer, and then the deer is gone. So, I went through the deer. Um,
Drove through it.
I went through the deer. Poor deer. And I'm kind of driving for a second and I'm like, I need to pull over and check on the deer is what I'm thinking. But I can't because I'm on this curvy road. There's no shoulders. It's straight up and down. And the speed limit is 70. So if someone comes around and
They're
my
gonna,
car is
yeah.
still kind of in the lane, like it's gonna get hit. And I
Mhm.
also wanted to pull over to see my car too and the damage. I could hear something like flapping on the front, and
Never a good
so
sign.
I could not pull over right away. So I'm just like, the poor deer. So badly I wanted to pull over and see if I could like check on the deer, maybe call someone, but and I also had no service because I'm looking at my phone. I'm trying to like call my mom or someone to tell them like what's going on in case my car like breaks down or something,
Yeah.
and no service at all. So I just had to keep driving until there was a safe place to pull over. And I also had one of those like you know how you can get like the bags that will go on top of your car, like a zipper
Yes.
bag. I had a big
Mhm.
one of those on top of my car, just like filled with all my belongings. So I'm driving to find somewhere to pull over. It's probably like, I don't know, 3 minutes down the road at this point. And out of nowhere, I hear clunk, clunk. And the deer had still been on top of my car and rolled down the side of my driver's side of the car.
Expecting that.
Yes. Have I told you this story before?
I think so.
I guess not. Yeah.
The first time. I feel like I would have remembered that part.
Yes. So the deer rolls off the side of my car. And at this point, I want to stop again because now I'm like, okay, he's still alive. I don't know in what condition. It rolled off and then it wasn't in the road anymore. So it must have hopped over the side down the mountain, but I don't know how well the deer was, but I still couldn't stop because there
It's a
wasn't a safe place.
reindeer. It flew off back to the North Pole.
God, I hope so. I hope he's okay. So eventually I was able to I think it was like another like 5 minutes down the road there's this little like parking lot for a business and I was able to pull in and check my car. I had to like pull a part of the bumper off.
Yeah.
But the car actually really wasn't that damaged. I was surprised probably cuz the speed limit was so high
You were going so fast.
that I kind
Yeah.
of just went through the deer and I'm worried the deer may have taken the brunt of the
I'm
damage.
sure I did not survive that. I grew up in Virginia, so deer every single year my mom would come home and be like, I hit a deer. Like they run into your vehicle. They like freak out and do the opposite of what they should do. And it's so sad, but
It is.
they're overpopulated.
I was going to say, at least from like a conservation standpoint, like there's too many deer anyways, but I still feel so bad. But
yeah, that's awful. I can't imagine like looking over and seeing like a deer roll off the top of my car. Like it sounds like you were in a horror movie. Like I was just waiting for you to be like,
Yes.
and a guy with a big sword popped out and tried to murder me. Like that's genuinely what it sounds like.
Yeah. So that's just another little look into my past.
That is incredible. I can't believe I haven't heard that story before. Or if I have, I can't believe I forgot it.
Yeah, some of my interns recently were like, you should tell that story.
It's a good one.
I wrote that one down, yeah.
Let us know what other stories you'd be interested in hearing, because apparently we've got them.
Yeah, any or just like any topics that you think you'd like to hear on the podcast, like email us, let us know. We would love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Alrighty, well, I think that's the end of the lists for today. Looks like the baby is waking up too.
Perfect timing, as
There's
always.
no vomit,
Thank
thankfully.
goodness.
Yeah, I think I don't think there was any left.
He's not gonna be able to look you in the eye for a while. Like, sorry, Mom.
Alrighty.
Right. Boom.
Bye.
Bye.